Alright, hello everyone, my name's 1stRecord, and today I'm going to be showing you guys a walkthrough of my level for the game Border Town. Alright, we start off by moving this crate over to the terrain, that way we can jump over the fence. As you can see, we got spacebar to jump. It's a mini tutorial on how to do some things for the player. We have rubble crushing that area over there, and we proceed to move up the warehouse and find an exit. So, move up here. Oops. Move some crates out of the way, and proceed by going up. Alright, we're going to have to move these out of the way. Use our grab now to push them out. And we proceed by going outside. Go down. Dumpster. And we gotta get to the other side, so we're gonna have to move some of this rubble out of the way. Get through the door since the cars are blocking us right now. Let's see if that's enough space. Alright. And we crawl or crouch our way out of here, so we can either go this way or go the more dangerous route and collect a key. This crate up here. And jump over. Alright, and then we crouch on here. We have money items. I only got 1 out of the 3, but we are heading throughout the level. So we gotta go up to the top of that little building, and as you can see we have water down here that will affect the player. So we crawl through all these cylinders, and we place some of these boxes on top of the pressure plates. So that one's on there. Proceed to the next one. And there is fall damage, so if the player falls off the building, then they will either take a lot of damage or instantly die. Alright, we got the second one. And that opens the bunker's secret hideout area. So crouch again since there's a turret here, and we proceed to the bunker, pick up the graphenol upgrade. It causes the statue to collapse, and we use E to push it out of the way. And we proceed to the next area. My animations didn't necessarily work with the triggers, so I just had them play instantly, and we cross this little section here. You collect these parts from the bulldozer as scrap pieces, and this is the next area. Hope you guys enjoy.
After leaving Archero's level, people come into a little wooded forest area. You can walk straight through. We'll activate a checkpoint, and you'll get a couple of thought bubbles here that come up. As you can see, the lighting goes a little wonky once you get a little bit farther in, so that's something I definitely need to fix. But we do have some cash collectibles here that you can pick up. I still have my rod, which is my main asset for my actual scene right here. We'll pick that up on our way out. And then you just head to the door, press E to open. And it is doing a little bit of a wonky turn here, as you can see. That is something that is on my to-do list to fix that. I'm not entirely sure how that happened from last time. And then go to the next area. Our objectives don't seem to be working quite right. As you can see, I triggered a completion for one of the other teammates' levels right there. Obviously not how that's supposed to work, as none of my inventory or my objectives are showing up, just because of combining all that together. It just got a little confused, I think. But that is definitely something that we're working on, so hopefully soon we will be able to get that fixed up. I do at least have my thought bubbles that kind of guide the player through, so that is pretty helpful for at least this part. If there aren't objectives, there are some thought bubbles that are kind of telling the player what's going on. As you can see, I did have the get past the rubble. That is an objective in the game. You can just build over the wall there. You can also jump over the rubble. It's kind of a little secret to make everything go a little bit faster for the player, because we want to stay within that 2 to 4 minute playtime. Obviously, if you're a little better at maneuvering things with the grapnel than I am, it's going to be a little bit easier. Alright, and then we jump back up on the wall. And over back into the town. So the player does have the option to take a look over here. There's actually another rod and some more collectibles back in that wooded area. But their main path, you've started. Thank you, objectives. Their main path does take them over to this area. Another objective triggers saying that they need to find the collectibles, which are on top of some of these buildings here. And then they will turn around and go back into this abandoned building. It does have a not so secret, not so hidden passage right here where they can go in. There's some more collectibles back there. And they will come out of the building, take a sharp turn, and head into the next area, which this objective that is not fully loading does tell them to find some more hidden collectibles, again on top of the buildings. And then in addition to that, when they come around to this big open area, they can also take a turn behind this rubble. There's another rod and some more collectibles back there that they can get to. And one final hidden area. If you build these crates up, get on top of the building there, collectibles, and behind that building there is another wooded area where they can receive some more collectibles and another rod. Our main mechanic and main setup here is the shadow puzzle. It still does not function as a shadow puzzle, unfortunately, but it does function as a door trigger. Again, this piece of door is still a little bit not functioning quite right, but for now we're just not gonna let that hit us on the way out as we take these steps down into our little warehouse. There are some collectibles scattered out in through here, and this is a maze. The actual shadow puzzle tells them where to go, what path to take. It is pretty simple, so even without that, they're not going to get too lost. It's definitely possible It's definitely something that I think people will want to explore a little bit to get all the collectibles, but it is an option to take the path, obviously, that I am taking here and just take the shortest route from A to B so that you can kind of finish this scene and get on to the next one, which get some collectibles on the way out. And our final scene opens out into this sort of mountain area. There are stairs leading up into the mountains and onto Randall's level.
This is Randall Stevens' level, and what we're trying to do is get inside of the facility, and which is behind that wall. There's no other way to get up there or into there without making it over the fence, so we're using the crates to get up onto the stairs to make it up onto the first building top. And once we reach the first building top, we'll actually come to the first checkpoint, and the player uses this pathway to cross over into the next roof, kind of just having a stationary way of getting across, because when they come down here, they've got another one that they can actually interact with the grapnel with, and the next rooftop to be able to get into the facility or through the open window is to create a pathway over onto the next building top. So they can go ahead and grab this with their grapnel and bring it over here to drop down over there. And once they get over to this other side, they have a crate over here as well as being a crate on the other building. And since you've already, or the player has already used crates to complete a climbing, or to climb up something, they can use the grapnel on them and take them over onto the other building so they can get onto the next ledge. And caught it. There we go. Safe at least for now. And from here we can go ahead and climb up and get onto the final building top, where you'll have another pathway kind of sticking off where the player will see it as they come up within their view, and they'll also have another space that they need to cross with a farther distance down to go and a further way to have to travel back. So you can actually climb up there or edge it off with the grapnel from down here. And just like before, go ahead and stick it into place. A little bit of a jump. Well, since I did fall, you'll actually kind of see the way to be able to get back up if you do fall. It's actually a lot quicker than it was before, so that the player doesn't lose a lot of time, especially on the outside of the facility, because all the fun stuff is actually on the inside. Just wanted to give a little bit of a entrance into it. And once we're inside, we'll reach the next checkpoint. And this damage volume will actually damage the player quick enough they won't be able to get to another area by trying to cross through it, no matter which way they try and take. So they're directed into the next into this little office area, where they'll find the first of the two cash pickups in this area. And once they come around here, see another little desk with something on top of it. And but if the player tries to proceed without collecting the blueprints, which is this little thing right here, then they can't make it through. There's a volume to block it right there. But come over here, interact with it by pressing E. They can make it to the next checkpoint down into this area. Now, if the player were to explore the area, a couple things that they would find is a door down here that doesn't seem to be able to be opened, a few filters, and a toxic pool with another door, and the door up there is actually blocked off completely to where the player can't get to it either. One of the areas that the player will be able to explore and find by with a little crouching is through here, and it's just high enough to where you have to or the player has to crouch down to crawl underneath there, so that it'll be able to see underneath it a little bit, as well as see the pathway over here and the broken wall that I'm climbing through right now. And here is actually the filter room, and as you can see, there's one that's already attached, that as well as 3 that are empty. And since we know the doors on the other side right here, can kind of assume that the boxes are what is keeping it from being opened. So if we go ahead and move these out of the way. We'll be able to come up and open the door. Now we can get back and forth through it. And since that filter looks like what's attached there, we can interact with it and go ahead and grab it and bring it in here and see if we can attach it to one of the empty ones. Once you get it close enough, it'll actually go ahead and automatically attach to it, and since you were able to attach that one, you can see that there's 2 more that are hidden throughout the level, and one that you'll kind of spot, or that the player can spot fairly easily when they're exploring the level, is they see this open area. There's one actually just down here. So if we come down here and grab it, we have to be careful because these toxic barrels actually do deal damage to the player if they stick in them for far enough. It looks like over here we've got something blocking our way, so we should probably go ahead and move that without trying to kill ourselves. And since I've got that out of the way, we can get this through and to that filter room to be able to attach to another one. One little fun thing is blasting it over there. And you can also blast it into the volume to be able to attach it, so you can just precision aim that right into place every time. The third one is actually hidden over here. If we just run through and deals enough damage to where you actually would make it there, but making it back without dying and having to go back to the last checkpoint is a little bit more difficult. So if we use the crates that are over here to line them up through it, we can get over here, toss that over to the other side, so that even if we do die, we can just run back over there and pick it back up. Now that we've got all 3 on there, a little bit, if we go back to the area to where we had the door blocked off to see if anything's been done with that, the volumes that were blocking it off will be cleared out. So now we just have to deal with getting across the toxic pool, which we, like before, we can actually use the crates to make a path and be able to not fall in the deadly water. Here we got another door. We're going to be able to open that up and Coming to this area, there's still a little bit for the player to be able to explore. Down there, there's a damage volume, and you'll also find some more toxic barrels and our engine. And if you go through here, you'll actually see that this one is missing a knob that the front two have. And there's also a button over here that doesn't seem to be doing anything. But if we come through here, we'll actually find what looks to be the piece that would attach onto the engine, like the first or the two, or like the engine in front of it does. So we crouch and use the grapnel to pull that through. Ooh. And then we can just put that onto the engine and then attach that, and then it'll actually activate our button, so that when we crawl through here, it took away the damage volume, and it also opened up the door to be able to exit. And there's our second cash drop is actually tucked away up here on the crates, kind of barely visible for the player to be able to see when they're looking around. And once we grab that, we can go ahead and just drop down and drop out of here onto the next level.
The final part to our level is by Dennis Estep and is titled The Library. As you can see, you're going to approach this building and grab your mission. And now you're going to have to find a way into it, as most of the front is blocked. Over here we have a tree that's by a weak part of the wall. You can use your grapnel to cause a hole in the wall to allow you entrance to the second floor. Once inside, we're going to have to unlock this door. The lock and key method here is a turn wheel that, when touching the door, causes it to open. Once inside, we are going to use the grapnel to move the blocks in place to allow us to jump over the bookcase. Once past the bookcase, we have a table blocking the door, so we're going to use the repulse feature of our grapnel to grab and push away the door from the entrance. Our main asset is the fire. Once inside, you're going to proceed over the fire, which can damage you, and grab our first book. Since the fire is larger on this other pathway, we're going to need something to either move across it or use the environment to get past it, such as this table leaning against the wall. Once over, we will grab the second book, and there's another locked door leading to the next level. So we're going to grab our money first, and then grab the next spin wheel. Again, touching it to the door unlocks it and allows us to proceed up the stairs. Once up the stairs, we're going to be going through some movement mechanics. First, we're going to use our repulse to move these boxes out of the way. And then we're going to do an over-under movement. Once in the next room, we're going to be using our next main mechanic, which is using the bookcases to form a bridge over the fire. We're going to grab our next book, and then proceed to the next area, where we're again going to repeat using the bookcase to create a bridge over the fire. These boxes can be blasted out of the way, but first, take note that there is a book hidden into them, and if you might blast out the book as well and lose it. Now we'll proceed down the elevator shaft to the first floor, which is mostly covered in fire. So first we're going to grab the money on the shelf, as well as a book collectible, and then use the mechanic we've been using for most of the level. These pillars can be moved, so we can push and pull them down to create a bridge across the fire. So here we pushed, then we pull, and repeat the process, And here, just to show the damage mechanic, we actually take damage rather quickly from the fire. So we're going to grab the last book, proceed all the way back over, grab the spin wheel. That'll allow us to leave. Once outside, you'll see a giant staircase with a button. We're going to proceed over and activate the button with the E button, which will move the stairway into place. We can then proceed up the stairs towards our exit. And once on the roof, we proceed to the helipad to end our level.